All right, this is your market recap for November 4th, 2025. Today, as you can see, we had a huge bearish day. It kind of just market opened on Monday, and just went straight down. And you can see here we have high of 105.50 and an open of 105.50. There was not one tick of bearishness on this candle. But it was kind of like a slow burn day. There was no huge big expansion or whatnot. Um, I personally did have a little bit of trouble determining whether today would play bullish or bearish, and I'll get into that on the lower time frames. But played really bearish today, and looks like we're continuing to play bearish tomorrow as well. But let's go down to the 4 hour first. We can see here um, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that doesn't make sense. I can't tell on the 4 hour, but we opened somewhere here and we dumped. That's a lie. Monday at 6 p.m. We started here. Sorry, I'm having troubles. Started here, came down, took out these relative equal lows, right? We hit that. This right here is this liquidity void that we are playing with that opened up last week. Yeah, last week's new week opening gap here. Still a liquidity void. We never really came down to it. We retraced to a good spot within it, right? ES at this point has already been there. It's already done its thing. So I was like, all right, this could be a place for us to reverse and play bullish. But in the season of not calling a bottom, I didn't want to depend on it, and so I didn't. But the more I watched, the more I felt bullish. But AM session ended with a big drop here, and that was just kind of continued throughout the rest of the day. Down to the 1 hour, you can see here, boom, market open, dips all the way down here into this, where then we get a pump down. We failed to hit this one. We then rallied upwards. Nice reaction off this 1 hour. Also, coincidentally, something I've started to notice, not to be like support and demand or supply and demand, whatever, support and resistance, but this low, these relative equal lows right here, if we continue that through, it's roughly where price stops, even though equilibrium is up here. So just food for thought. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with regards to that. And then from this 1 hour, we just sold off, like kind of the whole day. I had slight retraces here and there, but for most of the day, we just went down from there. 15-minute, same thing. You can see here, we made this low, played bullish. SMT of these highs pushed us down. We failed, once again, at market open to take out this low, which was 20 handles away, so within reachable distance. We then expanded upwards from there, taking out these relative equal highs, stopping at constant encroachment of this hourly fair value gap, grouping nicely around that constant encroachment right there for tipping over and starting the decline for the rest of the day. Other than that, not a whole lot. We have this 15-minute down here, which was reacted off pretty nicely for the last hour of trading. But other than that, not a whole lot. Kind of just bearish. So once again, SMT here pushing us down, rally upwards. SMT of these highs pushing us down, failed to take out this low. So that told me something. I said, all right, maybe we are playing bullish, right? Maybe we are. This right here is what confused me. Like, okay, if we took out this low, then I would have 100% called this a retrace. But we failed to take out this low, and then we started moving bullish. It reminds me of what happened, I believe it was yesterday, where we did the same thing, right? There was a high. Oh, well, in this case, there was a low, right? A thing of liquidity, which we were pushing towards at market open, which we failed to, and that started the reversal for the day. All right, so I had that in my mind. I had, all right, we're at this liquidity void. ES has already filled it all. We could play bullish, but I didn't want to call a low because I had a feeling this was just calling my name. This hourly up here was just calling my name, and I knew, I had a feeling that this bullish move would not get very far. But I didn't have enough certainty to trade on it, which was a thing. I could see it going both ways, and so I just sat it out. Now up here, why am I on the 4-minute time frame? Hold up. All right, you can see up here, nice grouping around concentric encroachment. Just loses all volume, so we run up, pretty big run actually, maybe 200 handles. Yeah. Consolidate for the macro. Macro sends us into consolidation. We get an SMT of these highs here, which you'll see on the 1-minute time frame more accurately. We then expand lower, tap back up into this 5-minute fair value gap there. Sorry, inverse, validated here, right? Multiple times. And then we come down below it, validate it, and use it here to take us down from there, targeting this low of London session. Then from there, PM session starts. Nice little rally here to some unknown level. We're on the 15-minute. There's nothing on the 15-minute even. But, retraced up, no SMT up here, dove down. Here's that 15-minute again, closure at concentric encroachment perfectly, closure at 75% perfectly on that 5-minute right there. Boom. And then we take off for the last hour of trading, or last, I guess this would be the last macro, right? Yeah, that was like now you know what I mean. There wasn't too many retraces. It was kind of just a slow chop down. But once again, SMT highs, market pushed down, took out this low, failed to take out this low. Sign number 1, right? Up, change in the state of delivery, retrace, fair value gap here, expanded upwards, taking out these relative equal highs, stopping dead in its tracks at concentric encroachment. During the macro, we had SMTs up here. I personally was thinking about taking this bearish, but I didn't like this price action. We lost all volume. Even though we did have SMTs up here, I said, this could not go down. And it didn't. We came up one more time, 2 more times. SMT of these highs, not during the macro or anything like that, just so happened to be here. We then tip over and that starts the move. Here's this 5-minute here, which we tap back into over here. And then from there, we're down. We take out this low, retrace pretty deeply. The reason for that is because we sweep it super low. But we had targets to fulfill, right? Because apparently the draw is equilibrium on the weekly time frame down there, which I'll talk about that after the 1 minute. But we touch the daily runs equilibrium, come up for lunch, no SMT of these highs. This would be a great trade if there's an SMT up here. Retrace up, filling this 1 minute fair value up fully, and then take off again, 15-minute reactions, and then last hour of trading sends us down once again. Now, going into the future, here's this daily run equilibrium, which I will explain if we go on the daily time frame. We can see here, high, low, high, right? So this right here is that daily run equilibrium. That was within play today. Like I mentioned, ES was already hitting its, right? And it had already filled the liquidity void, so that's why I was feeling a little bullish today. Now, if we go to the weekly time frame, we see this whole run, right? High, low, high. Take this whole thing, equilibrium slaps us right there, which is right where we're at right now. So do I think that we may stop here and reverse? Maybe not dead in its tracks, but we might drag down a little bit. But this is a very high likelihood place that we are going to reverse. Not to be support and demand, or so supply and resistance. Why am I having trouble with that? Support and resistance, supply and demand. But these two highs over here were just broken, and if we extend it over, it's relatively close, right? So that's just another thing to keep an eye on. But I think we're going to be here because on the higher time frame, like we saw, we're bullish, right? We're still bullish. We can have retraces. We needed a retrace because we had this liquidity void. We have this big fair value up here. And if we actually grade this, equilibrium is of that fair value gap is right where we're at right now. So We very well may reverse here. Now, I'm not going to call a bottom unless it gives me significant confluence, meaning a higher time frame SMT, but this is a very high likelihood place. If we were to stop retracing and switch to bullish again, this is a likely place for that to happen. But um, again, just like trading at all-time highs, I'm going to need quite a bit of confluence for me to stop playing bearish in these markets because we're just dumping at this point. So this has been your market recap for November 4th, 2025.